Hey guys, it's Lizzie. Thank you so much for hanging out with me or watching this after. Today I'm going to talk about vlogging because I know I talked earlier a few days, maybe a week ago or something, about Fiat 90, which is the female version of Exodus 90, and how I'm so excited to do a vlog series of that next year. But I was also thinking, why don't I do an Advent vlog series? And I think it would be so fun, but I remember last Lent, I actually promised to do all this vlogging and filming during Lent, and it never really ended up happening. And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, what if I do Advent weekly vlogs? And then I was thinking every reason that I hate vlogging. And one of the things, it's like a safety concern, and I don't think I've ever talked on YouTube about things that I've gone through with stalkers, but I have been sent videos and pictures from men pointing gun knives to the camera. Phil, thank you so much for the donation. So another thing that I found is one of the people who has actually been sending me threats, like this goes back to when I was 17. There's like one specific guy who has continually sent like harassing messages. And I actually found this person's Instagram last summer, and he was walking around my old neighborhood where I used to live, like literally the streets, like within minutes of my apartment. This person was like walking around. And I know when I moved back to LA from Florida, my boyfriend, because I was newly dating Trevor at the time, he was really intense, and he was like, do not do Snapchat, do not do Instagram story when you're out ever. And it's because if you see the location, someone could easily find like where I'm at lunch or where I go to church or where my morning run is. And so I'm really, really careful with Instagram and stories to never post outside. And if I do, it's like way after the fact. But it makes social media for me really, really hard, and it makes YouTube hard just because from a young age, from when I was teenager, within a year of starting my channel, I've been getting violent threats. And there was a new person in 2018 who was like in love with me, like thought we were in a relationship, obsessed, like buying tickets to things, like wanting to visit me, buying plane tickets and pointing weapons to the camera. And this person lived like many states away. He didn't live in California, thank God, but obviously someone could travel and go find me. So it just kind of brings up like, what do I even do when I vlog? Like I can only vlog inside my apartment. Like I wouldn't even want to be like, oh, I'm walking around. And the times I have filmed outside of my apartment have been like, I filmed the trees. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but when I film outside for videos, I don't film like this. I film like this, so that all you can see is like the sky and the tree above me, and no one can tell where I am. Or I'll like film my feet walking on like the road or the sidewalk. Like there's no way someone's gonna find that and figure out where I am. So those are like the type of things that I think about with vlogging and why I don't like it. And I think also I'm like very focused when I work, and I feel like some YouTubers, like their whole brand is like follow me around and what I'm eating for the day and like all of these things, like my workout routine. And for me, I feel like my editing process takes so long and the research and reading takes so long that it's kind of like, it's hard to interrupt that process and be like filming. So anyways, I am going to try to do a vlog series, maybe for Advent, maybe for Lent, and showing you guys within my life in my apartment. And I was also thinking about it, like if I do go out to a restaurant or something, I could like film my food or like film trees, but you can't even like film trees around the restaurant because then people could find out where it is. And luckily LA is a really big place, and so there's so many cities within the giant county, so no one even knows like which city I live in. But people have found out like which parish I go to, which is really creepy. Like people have figured it out. And yeah, so obviously it's not that difficult to track down people and find out where they live, but those have been my experiences. And it's actually really weird to me because a lot of YouTubers are super open, like showing the front of their house on their videos. And there's this one YouTuber I watch, Gabby DiMartino, and she literally was complaining on Twitter. She's like, people keep sending packages to my address rather than my P.O. box because they found out which house I live in. And she continues to put the front door of her house on YouTube. And I'm almost jealous of people who have like not a care in the world and don't have to deal with this, because I feel like it's so much easier making fun and lively videos. But I mean, maybe anyone can have people come after them. I think for me, because I specifically make videos on mental health, you know, there is like that small percentage of people with mental illness who do get violent. And so I think because I attract like all sorts of mental illness people, then people who do have like violent tendencies, they're going to be within that group. And so I think that's why like I'm especially really careful, because this most recent person who was like obsessed with me, it was like someone who was clearly manic. Like I could tell by the writing that they were manic. They said they were bipolar. So yeah, that's kind of like behind the scenes of things that you don't realize that your favorite influencers may actually deal with. But I think a lot of people don't deal with it because they show their houses in their videos and keep showing their houses in their videos, and it's totally fine. So, you see me rolling? Do you remember how I used to be like, look me rolling? I didn't realize for the longest time how to pronounce your username. Yeah, it makes perfect sense for you to be careful of what you're filming. There's these kinds of people, unfortunately. Do these psychos say what it is that triggers them about what you say? No, it's nothing specifically at all. People are so strange these days. Be careful. Cause, Pala, hello everyone. Hello. God bless you, Lizzie. Be careful. I guess it depends on the person and their vibe and how thick-skinned they are. Lizzie, you should listen to Amazing Grace by Pentatonics. I have heard that song. I love Pentatonics. I actually saw them live when I was in college. We went to one of their concerts with some of my friends. So I have seen them live and they're amazing. And I actually hadn't listened to them in a while, and I went back and they changed one of their members. So yeah, I figured that out recently. One of their singles came up in my YouTube recommended. You know how YouTube like randomly shares things. So, okay. What are good typical things to do for Advent? I'm not sure what I should do or want to do, but I want to go above and beyond what is normal for Jesus. Exactly. So that's why I want to do Advent vlogs, sharing my God time routines during it, because I know you're supposed to have Advent candles and you're supposed to get an Advent wreath. So I'm definitely going to do that. And actually in the Orthodox Church, they've already started Advent and they go vegan during Advent. Isn't that so cool? The Orthodox Church, they go vegan during Lent and Advent. So I was thinking, like, what do they do for Thanksgiving? Like, do they eat, like, tofurkey turkey? Do Orthodox Christians have to do that? Comment below if you're Orthodox. I'm so curious what they do for Thanksgiving. I mean, I've found out a way to do vegan Thanksgiving. It's actually so easy. If you are vegan, message me and I'll send you all the recipe videos that I use for Thanksgiving. It's super easy. I am actually traveling soon. I'm going to be reunited with Trevor, and we're going to see a couple friends for Thanksgiving. It's going to be a very small group of people. The place we're going, I actually have some other friends there, and we're not going to be seeing them, which is really sad, but it's just how it is. So yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys, Trevor and I might do a live stream together when I visit him. And it's actually Trevor's birthday. So I've already gotten him all the gifts, and I haven't wrapped them yet, just because when you travel on an airplane, it actually, like, this happened to my sister once when she was coming home for Christmas. They unwrap your presents. Like, TSA goes inside your suitcase if you do like a checked bag, and they unwrap your presents. So ever since then, whenever I'm traveling, I like get the wrapping paper and I like fold it together and then bring the wrapping paper and then like wrap the presents when I get there. So that's a pro tip if you're traveling. TSA might destroy your packaging. Okay. Cause Polo says, I know girls who show their houses and specifically talk about their churches and they feel okay, and I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it only takes one person to make a violent threat and come find you. So Phil Shao, thank you for the donation. That's super cute. Traveling. Okay, let's fast this Advent. No meat on Fridays. Yeah. So I think what I'm going to do for the Advent fast is give up like the vegan version of it. So like there's vegan fake meats or like vegan fake butter. So I think I'm going to do like some version, like give up something that's like the vegan version of the animal products. So we shall see. How are you doing these days? I've been really, really good. I've been crying a lot because I've been working on my book like every single day for hours and hours. And I've been making more simple YouTube videos for that reason, because I want to put all the emphasis on just finishing the book. And I think once we do that, once I get into a publishing company, I think the editing process hopefully will be like more chill than like me spending 7 hours every day writing. I mean, who knows, maybe it'll be more intense than that. But hopefully we'll be able to do like a slow process of editing so I can keep up with my YouTube channel as we're doing it and other work and everything. But yeah, it's just a very emotional, and it's actually been so therapeutic writing about my experience with depression and my family's reaction to me being Catholic, breakup. Like, I feel like there's so many things involved with it that are like very intimate to me and that have hurt me a lot that are part of the book. And so it's been very therapeutic. And I guess like my YouTube channel is therapeutic too, where anytime I talk about something that has hurt me, it helps so much just like talking about it out loud. And I think like I used to journal all the time and I barely do anymore. And so I think I forgot how intimate writing is for me and how it actually really helps me a lot. Jay said, I heard a joke that as more than 5 people Thanksgiving are being banned, but funerals up to 30 are allowed, then the best thing is to invite your friends to the funeral of your pet turkey. Okay. Alex says, Lizzie, in the name of Jesus, you should do a trans exclusionary video for Trans Awareness Week. Ryan, your book has been a long time in the making. I know, because I was signed with a company and we were like doing edits. So I stopped working on it because I was going to do edits with the company. And I kind of just like stopped working on it. So yeah, I did a lot of the writing. Like the majority of the writing I did within like 2 weeks in fall of 2017, in like December of 2017, I did like so much of it. And then I've just been editing through everything I wrote, which has been taking a long time. So the document started off with like 190 pages. That's what I started working with in like, what month is it right now? It's November. So maybe in like September or the beginning of October, when I got my rights back, I started working on it again. And now the document is like 340 pages because everything I delete and take out, I save on the bottom part of the document. I have like chapter 1 deleted, chapter 2 deleted, chapter 3 deleted. And there's like so much that I've deleted and edited out, and then more that I've written in. So the actual document is getting close to like 350 pages. But the actual stuff that's in the book is like 180 pages or something. So I have like a little bit more room for a few of the chapters. And I decided I want it to be long as they'll let it be, because I feel like I just share stories about my life and there's a lot in it about bipolar. And I feel like you guys are very interested in me talking about my experience with mental illness. I think it is very interesting to talk about. So yeah, but some of it is like, I do need to focus on the Catholicism part more rather than just like talking about depression. But hopefully I really, really, really want to find a company that has experience writing about mental illness and is like very accepting of talking about it. Because I personally feel like it was very involved in my conversion. Like leaving Protestantism, my depression kind of pushed me out of evangelical churches all the way because there was no robust theology of suffering. And then when I was manic, I was researching so much and like so trusting of reading into the church fathers because I was in a manic state. Like it really affected it so much because I was manic. So I feel like I have to explain. And there are some things in the book that like I've never talked about on YouTube regarding my mental illness. And as I was writing it, I was actually FaceTiming Trevor and I was like reading parts of it to him. And he's like, what? You dealt with that with depression? Like little details that I've literally never talked about. So even if you watched like every single one of my videos, there will be things in the book that I've never talked about. So if you're already vegan, why not actual fast, as in eating nothing up till 3 every Friday? Because if you're already vegan, like Lizzie, it's not a sacrifice. What? Fast as in eating nothing up until 3? Honestly, I need to research into fasting more. I haven't because I'm vegan, so there's no point in researching it. But I know that in Protestantism, like we did like a 30-hour famine type fast when I was in high school to raise money for poverty relief. And so in Protestantism, fasting means like not eating at all, whereas in Catholicism, it means cutting out certain foods but still eating. Usually, most of the fast. It's not just like not eating any food. So I don't think, and honestly, it's like not good for my bipolar to be not eating food. Like it's important to consistently be eating food. Like my current medication, I actually don't have to take with food, so it's not like a medication thing. But it's just like I need to be in like top-notch shape physically for my bipolar. So JS Central says, is there such a thing as Aramaic Mass? I think that would make more sense than Latin Mass, given that Jesus spoke such a language. That's really funny. I mean, I'm sure they do have Catholic Mass, or they have in the past had it in Aramaic. The legend has arrived. Hello, Vince. Hi, Raul. European airport security is much better than TSA as they're privatized, and it allows for competition and hiring the best workers who use proper critical thinking skills. So they don't take apart your wrapped presents. I want to read it. Do you think I would be able to? Yes. Obviously, we would want shipping all around the world since I do have subscribers all around the world. So I definitely think that would happen. I think it would be cool if they could translate it in other languages too, because I constantly get questions of translating like all my theology videos into Spanish and Portuguese. Like I get that question all the time, and I like cannot afford to pay people to translate all my videos. So if they translated the book, that would be amazing if they could translate it into Spanish. I think that would be so cool. If it's successful, maybe they would think about that. Hi, Lizzie, you be selling your book on Kindle? Yes, we can do Kindle. Also, it'd be like a dream come true to record it for Audible. That would be so cool. Okay. Hi, Lizzie. How's your life these days? Don't forget to include Philippines in your travel. Have fun and enjoy life. Thank you. So I'm not doing any traveling outside of the country lately. I might do a Mexico trip to Cabo with my best friend because her parents have like a hotel type thing there that's discounted. So we've been before. So we have been talking about doing that in 2021, but that would be like just the two of us hanging out. So it wouldn't be a lot of people involved. How are you doing, Lizzie? I'm doing really well. I've just been writing all the time. So much fun. What month is this right now? Is such a 2020 question. I know, it feels like, I think I lost track of time in like April, and I still feel like it's like April or May. Okay, Lizzie, have you watched Project Bible videos? If so, what do you think of them? I think they are very well done and written. Let's see if I have ever found Project Bible videos. Let's see. Project Bible. And subscribe to their channel, Bible Project. Oh, yeah. I've watched these videos. I think they're amazing. The, what is it called? Not editing, design, whatever it is. The animation. The animation is amazing. I think they're so great. Okay. You should do a mental illness book. I do have a mental illness book written. It's like 200 pages, but it's like a complete manic mess. And I've written it over like, I probably started writing it in like 2016. So I have so much in it, and it would take like months, probably like 4 months to like edit through it all the way. But after I do the Catholicism memoir, I'm definitely going to do a bipolar memoir as well and go more in depth into it. But the Catholic book is like the beginnings of, there's a lot of like bipolar stuff in it. There's like a whole chapter about depression. It's not only about depression, but that's like a lot of the chapter. That's too bad it didn't work out with the first publishing company. I think it's for the best. I think that we were not a good fit together, and some of the other books on their list, I didn't do research on the company before signing with them because I was connected with an employee from the company who reached out to me, who I like adored, and I really wanted to work with her. And so I didn't actually research the company. I just trusted her with it. And so I think I could have done better with finding a company that like aligns with my values. Like some of the books from the company, I was like not 100% behind the way they were marketing it. So I think it's a great thing that it ended up not working out with the first company. And another thing is that my parents, especially my dad, was very, very intense about not wanting to be included in the book at all. And so I just think it's a positive thing that like my family got a break from having to realize that they're like in the public eye for my conversion. And so I think like if I'd come out with the book in 2018 or like early 2019, it really would have hurt my family a lot and they would have been very offended by it. And so I think now that it's like, it'll come out in like 2021, I think that's given my parents like 2018, 2019, 23 years to accept that I'm Catholic, calm down, be less emotional about it. So I think giving it time is really good because I am going to talk about my family in the book. My sister, I found a way to not include my sister in the book because she doesn't want to be in the book either, but I have to include my parents a little bit. And because that's like the whole, like the amazing part of my story that's like so compelling is that I was hurting my parents so much and I hated hurting my parents. And it was like this horrible thing coming together where like I love Church of Christ, but I had to leave it. And it was betrayal and it was hurting my family. Like that's the compelling part of my story. So I cannot leave them out of the book. It would like not be as good if they weren't in it. So ideally they would become Catholic first. But I don't know. I can't wait around for years waiting for them to convert. But I think eventually they will for sure. How do you feel that we're having the second Catholic president ever? So it doesn't feel like it's a Catholic, he's a Catholic president. Sorry, I almost called Biden it. I was trying to say like, it doesn't feel like it is a situation or it is the scenario of a Catholic president, but Biden, as a Catholic politician, you're not supposed, not like you're not supposed to, but like you're not allowed to legally make abortion legal. Like you can't do that. If you do, you're like a Catholic not in good standing with the church. Like it's not okay. And it's a really serious rule where you're not allowed to legally support abortion as a politician. It's very serious. So the fact that he does makes it seem like, is he even like a practicing Catholic? Like even if you would go to mass, like you're not. So he's literally been denied communion before because of what I just said. So it doesn't feel like, he doesn't feel like a Catholic president. Like, I don't know if he goes to mass. I don't know if he's serious about his faith. Obviously you can't judge someone, but the fact that he supports abortion means like, it's meaningless to me that he's a Catholic. And I know that's really, really harsh, but that's honestly how I feel. Like it doesn't even matter to me that you're Catholic if you're legally supporting abortion. Egg Nazca says, I also think about fasting more. Sisters of my congregation don't eat anything on Friday. Interesting. They like completely don't eat any food. That's interesting. Gunru says subscribed, but can't remember who this is. First time I've seen this on my homepage. Michelle says, just wanted to pop in and say hi. I'm going to finish watching this tomorrow morning. Ignatius Garcia, do your episodes always start with mania or do they sometimes start with depression? So that's a really hard question to answer because there are depression episodes and manic episodes. Now, my first ever episode was hypomania. Although I didn't even know if I could have been diagnosed with that at the time. Wait, we're going to do a super comment and then I'll keep talking. Scott, what keeps your parents from becoming Catholic? How can you see the truth, but they cannot? How do you feel about the situation? So we'll talk about the bipolar question after we talk about this question. So I personally think that it would be too painful for my parents to admit that they're wrong and that they need to convert. Because they've been part of Church of Christ for decades of their lives and they converted in, like they grew up without religion and chose to be Church of Christ. So they feel so loyal to it. And they're so loyal to their current church. Like in the past year, my dad has even been preaching at the church. They were Church of Christ missionaries. And so it would just be so painful. Like for me, it was really painful because I was part of it my entire life. I was part of it for like 23 years. It was my entire life. But for them, I think the fact that they were missionaries, that they do ministry, all these things, it makes it even harder for them to leave. And I think that as people get older, it's harder to change. I believe that so strongly. In Ecclesiastes, there's a Bible verse, and it talks about, it's towards like, I think it might be the last chapter, or the chapter before the last chapter. And it says, remember the Lord in your youth. And then it goes on and on and on and talks about all these reasons why you will get distracted by life. You'll become less open to change as you get older. So I think it's so much easier to convert when you're younger, when you have more like brain plasticity, and I mean, not like brain plasticity, but you know what I mean? Like as you get older, you get more set in your ways. So it's harder to convert. But logically and with the evidence, it's so obvious that Catholicism is true. And I think for them, even though they've been shown the evidence, their hearts are not open to it yet. Like you have to be open to it, or you can give someone all the evidence in the world and they won't believe. And something I actually have in my book is quoting a verse in one of the Gospels. At the end, it says, they were amazed, but some doubted. Talking about the resurrection, people who literally saw Jesus resurrected from the dead, people doubted that. And so you can be given all the evidence in the world, but if you're not open to it, it won't help. Okay, so going back to answer the question about bipolar episodes. So an episode is either mania or depression. That's it. There are something called mixed episodes, which have symptoms of both in it, but normally, like typically, the average person with bipolar will be in a manic episode, then they'll be in a depression episode, they'll be depression, manic. It's not like you start with either. I think for me, my first episode happened to be, I was more manic, but that wasn't even diagnosed mania at the time. It was like a slight manic thing. But my first diagnosed episode was actually depression, even though I have bipolar type 1, which tends to have more mania involved in it. Someone with bipolar type 2, which tends to be more depression and is a more chill form of mania, my guess is that they would be more likely to be depressed as their first episode that diagnoses them. Although you can't even be diagnosed with bipolar with just depression. You also have to have a manic episode to diagnose the bipolar. But there are some people who their first episode is mania. For me, my first diagnosable episode was depression. Although throughout college, like my freshman year of college, I don't know, like if we were looking for it at the time, I might have been able to be diagnosed with a hypomanic episode. But it was just so normal for me at the time that we didn't even think of like what we would compare it to. So yeah, I personally, I would have to look really in depth into DSM classifications and think back on it, but I would consider it hypomania. But I mean, I was seeing therapists at the time and they tried to diagnose me with it. Like I remember a vivid situation where I was with a therapist and she was like, what is at Pepperdine? This is like my sophomore year. And let's say like my whole freshman year and after, I was in like a manic type state. And she's like, do you have any family history of mental illness? And I'm like, my aunt has bipolar disorder. And she was asking me certain questions. I could tell she was trying to diagnose me and she didn't diagnose me. So it's interesting. Carmelite, thank you so much for the donation. Is your book going to be in Mexico? I will make sure it is because I have so many followers from Mexico and Brazil and the Philippines and in so many other countries. So definitely it will be in those countries. And Fatima, if for some reason the company's weird and doesn't want to ship it, I will personally send you a copy of my book to your house. Okay, I would like to translate it into Russian. Oh, see, you guys have to make it a hit book. Like, it has to get, I was about to say it has to get a lot of views. It has to get a lot of sales for them to consider to translate it into other languages. So it's up to you guys to buy the book for people in your life and to purchase the book and make it big. And then maybe it can be translated in other languages. I would also like to book ebook because I don't buy physical books anymore. So it's going to be on Kindle, Audible. We want it everywhere. Okay. I would like to translate your book to Portuguese. It must be amazing. Oh, that's so sweet. Okay. You look so good, Lizzie. Have you been able to attend mass since your dictator governor shut everything down? I have been able to kind of like illegally a few times because my priest has been very kind and he's been letting people come and do like readings and help with filming and everything. So I have because of that. Hey, Lizzie, just tuning in. Do you visit the Philippines? Because 90% of the people here are Catholic. I know! I really, really, really want to visit the Philippines, and I definitely will. I'm in California, and everything is horrible with how the government is not acknowledging that this country was built on Christianity. Yeah, it's really crazy how the government can just shut churches down. Like, I know how bad everything is, but in so many states, the churches are open and it's totally fine. People wear their mask. I was visiting Boston and it was totally fine. We were receiving Eucharist. The way they did is so let's say there's like a pew. So there's like one here and there'll be two that are like marked off. And then you can sit there and then like two that are marked off. Like they have like caution tape or like a rope. I don't think anyone actually uses caution tape. I was like making a joke and I was like, Mom, I was in mass and they had caution tape. And she thought it was hilarious. But no, they'll have like string or like a rope or something in between the pews. And so it's social distancing at the mass and everyone wears their mask until you receive the Eucharist, then it's like you don't have to do it in the tongue either. You can do it on your hand. The priest wears a mask when he hands out the Eucharist. The priest does hand sanitizer before. Like there's so many ways to do mass in a safe way. So it's weird to me that like it was shut down to begin with. I think it's crazy. But ultimately, like we're following our bishop too. And that's what I like about Catholicism. Like we have to obey our bishop. And so even if they were opening up, the bishop might say it's not safe. And so church authority is kind of in control of it, which makes me feel better about it. But ultimately, like, I think it's horrible that they're shutting down churches, especially when I've seen it firsthand, like all the measures put in place to make sure that it's safe. Unpopular opinion. If you don't explain the faith to your kids or younger family members, you're part of the reason why so many young people leave that faith. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. I think that's like objectively true. I read a Church Pop article and I was going to retweet it, but there were so many typos in it that I was actually like, I'm not going to retweet that. Have you guys ever experienced that before? I was like reading this great article, but there were several like horrible typos. And I was like, I don't want to be associated with this article. But it was a priest talking about how he runs a Catholic school that's actually free for kids to attend. And he does all this ministry work, but he's like, ultimately it's up to the parents to like show up to mass and pray at home and do the rosary together and do Bible study. Like the parents have to put in a ton of effort. And he's like, the letter was pretty intense. He's like, you're going to be liable on Judgment Day for your children's faith. So yeah, I think the number one reason that people don't go to mass every week, that there's like huge lapses in understanding the faith where like loads of people don't believe in the real presence of the Eucharist, it's parents' fault. Like they didn't pass on the faith. So if that's an unpopular opinion, all of you guys are wrong. Like that's true. The parents are the most important in passing on the faith. My husband is a deacon and introduced me to your channel. You have a voice, persevere, and do it all as unto the Lord, and all will be well. Have you watched How to Be a Christian Catholic Apologetics channel? He does apologetics in a completely new, smart, and entertaining way. Let's see. How to Be a Christian. How to Be a Christian teaches you about the topics of Christianity, whether you're a Christian or not. Christian, this series. Christian versus Protestant on the Deuterocanonical Books Part 2. That's so interesting. I made my video on that this year and learned so much. I think like my favorite thing was at the very beginning of my video on the books of the Bible that the Protestants got rid of. I said, and this is true, that none of the earlier none of the canon lists in the early church match the current Protestant Bible. Not one single one matches the current Protestant Bible from the early church. And it's true because I think the only one that was close to the Protestant Bible removed Esther. And so there's not a single one that matches the current Protestant Bible, which is crazy. And I felt like so much fun saying that in the video because it's like a huge thing. Like, wow, you're trying to be original and your Bible doesn't match a single. Crazy. Okay. That's good that it worked out for the best and you'll find another publishing company. Please talk more about your parents and become Catholic and how that affected your relationships. Yes, I will definitely talk about that in the book. Or do you want me to talk about it now? He still might go to the same way as Protestant Dole. I'm so happy in advance for your parents. Sorry, I can't help it. No, I'm so happy in advance too whenever it happens. It's going to be like the most beautiful. I'm going to cry so much in happiness. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the Amazing Grace song by Pentatonics. I just started listening to it and I love it. Cool. Thank you for whoever recommended that. Hey, Lizzie, just wondering if you're going to mention Communion of the Saints in your book. I don't think... Yes, I have mentioned it several times in the book. It's a moral evil. Hi, I think that might have been in regard to abortion. Hi, please pray for the Sri Lanka Catholic Church. What is going on right now? What are your thoughts on how the Pope congratulated him on presidency? So that was kind of like he had to do it to whoever's the president. He has to congratulate just because he needs to be on good terms with all the leaders of the world. Just because, like, the Pope meets with everyone, like the Pope met with Trump and Melania and Ivanka, the Trump's going to meet with Biden, and Jill is his new wife's name. So, yeah, he would do it for whoever's president. So I didn't think it was that weird, or I wasn't upset by it or anything. Okay. Biden is not in line with Catholic teachings. Claiming Biden is a good Catholic is like claiming that King Herod was a good Jew. Wow. I became a Catholic from Buddhism. I'm 13 and I think more teens need to be practicing Catholics. That's so cool. Catholic teen life. That's so inspiring. What do you think of Kamala Harris? So she definitely wasn't my favorite candidate of everyone who was running. I like John Hickenlooper and Andrew Yang the most. So she has a history of putting a lot of people in jail for drug crimes, which is like my number one thing that okay, there's a lot of things I'm upset about. Abortion might be number one for like the biggest human rights violation currently going on, but racism going on in the country, especially through the prison system, is like the number one thing. And she put people in jail, majority people of color in jail for drug crimes. I know that she is a person of color, but it just factually, she was putting people in jail, way more Blacks and Hispanics than white people, for like minor drug offenses. So when we're talking about people who are going to transform the criminal justice system, she wasn't my top pick. Like, I don't believe she's going to transform it. Because, I mean, maybe she completely changed her mind, but it's just like, I don't see her and Biden actually doing something. And, you know, I might be surprised and I'll be really grateful if they do huge criminal justice reform, but I don't trust them at all to do it. They were not my favorite candidates at all. They were like both at the bottom of the list of people who I was like, oh, this is a cool Democrat candidate. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of either of them. I'm honestly shocked Biden won. I know amongst like young people and millennials, he was not popular at all. And let's not forget that there's all these videos floating around of Biden like touching women in weird ways and like sniffing them and stuff. Like, I don't think we can say 100% it's like sexual assault, but I think it's kind of sexual harassment. And you can, I'm not making this up. I'm not like libeling against him or anything. Video compilations of him making women feel so uncomfortable. And I thought that would lose him the election, honestly. Just like how Trump's comments about sexual assault, I thought would lose him the election. And it actually like makes me really, really mad that people don't take these things more seriously. Like, I think that should like lose someone them being like the Democrat nominee or the Republican nominee or the president when you have video or you've made statements regarding sexual assault or sexual harassment. I don't understand why people don't take it more seriously. Maybe it's because I'm a woman, but I assume men should care too. Okay. From Brazil, Lizzie, you are a lovely girl. You're an inspiration to young Catholics. I wish more people's souls would listen to you. God bless you always. That's really sweet. Okay. Hey, Lizzie, from Church of Christ, originally trauma there. How do you start over? I don't understand the question. Hey, Lizzie, thank you for all the information. It's really good to hear and very informative. Yay. I feel really uncomfortable making judgments on people's faith. I've been on the receiving end of being called a heretic by former Protestant friends. Just makes me uncomfortable with it. Yeah, I mean, my thing isn't about, like, if he didn't support the legalization of abortion, I wouldn't say anything about his faith, even if I thought he never went to mass. So that's the only thing. But I think also, like, there's so many Catholics in the country who are like baptized Catholics and don't do anything regarding their faith. And I feel like in Protestantism, it's kind of like okay to do everything on your own. But in Catholicism, if you want to be a Catholic in good standing, there's like a few things you have to do, including attending mass every weekend on holy days of obligation. So if you don't do that, Protestantism is more like, oh, pray on your own. But in Catholicism, like, if you're gonna call yourself Catholic, especially if you're a big public figure, you have to do these things to be practicing Catholic. That's just like how Catholicism works. So stop judging others, period. I think we should judge others. Absolutely. St. Paul talks about judging other people in 1 Corinthians. He's like, I'm judging you for doing this. So I think it just looks bad to the rest of the world when we have people part of our group who aren't taking it seriously. It's kind of like how there's so many ex-Catholics going around spreading lies about Catholicism or saying like they didn't have a relationship with God when they were Catholic, like just things floating around. And it's just like not good for the faith. Can you tell me when someone is in a manic episode, how can you tell? Okay, so I made an entire video recently talking about how you know signs that someone is in a manic episode. So manic episode, how? Let's see if the video comes up. Yeah, 13 signs you're having a manic episode. Barely has any views because my recent videos I make about bipolar do not get into the YouTube algorithm. Okay, how to know if someone is in a manic episode. I don't know why I'm excited saying that. It's not, it feels exciting, but objectively, it's not an exciting thing to be manic. Hello, Lizzie. Just wanted to wish you a happy early Solemnity of Christ the King. So my boyfriend Trevor actually became Catholic at the Solemnity of Christ the King in 2017. So 18, 19, 20. So 3 years. He's 3 years old. He's a toddler Catholic. Okay. Do you always become depressed after a manic episode? No. So it's really common to not be in an episode at all. So some people will like be in depression and then get out of depression and like not be in an episode. And that's why people go off their meds, because they're like, I don't need to be on meds. I'm not in an episode. But the whole point is the meds protect you from going into an episode before it happens, which is so important because it can take like months for some of the bipolar meds to kick in. So if you're in severe depression or you're really manic, I mean, luckily with the manic thing, the antipsychotics for mania, they kick in pretty fast. Whereas the depression, the medicines that help with depression, those can take, like my main medicine, Lamictal, it takes 2 months to kick in. So it's like if I spiked down into depression and then I have to wait 2 months to be out of depression, meanwhile, I can't go to work. I'm not studying for school. I lose my friends. You know what I mean? I break up with my boyfriend. Like there's just so many things you do in depression that can ruin your life if you're in depression. Even for like a week, it can ruin your life. So same with mania. If you're manic for a day, it can ruin your life. So it's just not worth it. Even if you're not in an episode, stay on your medicine. So okay. Let's see. I was thinking of fasting for 40 days. Have you ever tried to fast? So what's your experience? So I don't do fast just because with my bipolar disorder, I was talking earlier about how I need to eat at regular times throughout the day to keep my bipolar healthy. So I remember I used to not even fast before Mass for a long time because I was on a medicine called Trileptal. And the way it worked is you had to eat it with food. And so with bipolar, sometimes I like oversleep. Like it's so hard to wake up in the morning. I was in that type of phase. And so I was like, if I want to be able to take my medicine in the morning, I have to eat. And so if I went to morning mass at like 9 a.m., sometimes I didn't fast before the Eucharist. And also I was at a point where I was like almost passing out all the time. And if I didn't eat like before mass in the morning, I would pass out. So I had a medical condition that exempted me from doing the 1 hour fast. But now I do the 1 hour fast because I'm not on Trileptal anymore. But yeah, so also I've done like disordered eating in the past. I wouldn't say I've ever had a straight up like eating disorder, but I've definitely had like disordered eating behavior. And if I don't eat and I'm like hungry, sometimes I like crave the feeling of being hungry, which is so dark, but I just don't ever. And then since I'm vegan, there's nothing to fast from. Which is why I was talking about how during Lent, I think I'm going to give up like fake meat products or something. Instead, I can have the Gardein fishless fillets. I just won't have like vegan chicken nuggets or vegan burgers or anything. Okay. Is it about your life or is it a book on dogma or doctrine? So it's about my life, but it's intermixed with dogma and doctrine. I just wanted to know if you know about the Sri Lanka Catholic Church. We are a part of about 6 of our country. We are persecuted. Pray for us. That's really sad. I couldn't care less what a politician's opinion is on abortion. If they were sincere in their concern, they should remove their government funding to Planned Parenthood. Yeah, absolutely. I have no idea why that's still a thing when Republicans have been in charge. It's ridiculous. May God bless you always. Only God can judge your heart and soul, but people can judge your actions within reason. Yeah, I agree. In my country, the cardinal tells us to pray the rosary at 6, and everyone prays it at 6. 6 a.m. or 6 p.m.? How often can Catholics have sex? Sorry if that's weird. No, that's not a weird question. So in Catholicism, you can only have sex in marriage. So you have to be validly married through the church with a priest. There are situations where if someone had been married in like a courthouse and it was determined that it wasn't a real marriage, they would actually have to stop having sex until they are properly married in the church. So they would have to get like remarried, although the first marriage was like never even a marriage. So that's a thing. Within marriage, you can have sex whenever you want, but St. Paul in 1 Corinthians, he recommends couples to take breaks from sex to focus on prayer, to decide together to take breaks from sex. So that's theological, it's in the Bible. And a lot of couples use something called natural family planning. And there's actually an FDA approved app called Natural Cycles that a lot of people use. You can use it to space out children or to prevent pregnancy, not having sex for like a week out of every month. So a lot of Catholics do that, and I think that's a perfect time to apply what St. Paul teaches in 1 Corinthians about taking breaks to focus on prayer. In Catholicism, just because it's like, I've been dating my boyfriend almost 3.5 years, and we've never had sex, and we haven't movie. You can have a conversation. You can pray your rosary together. Like, there's so many things you can do when you watch a movie, like read a book together. Like, there's so many other activities you can do in your relationship. And I have been told, like, once you do have sex, everything changes. But it's like, it is dopamine hit. You know that's why you want it. You're, like, addicted to the dopamine hit. So there's so much more depth in your relationship. So, yeah, the church doesn't necessarily recommend to have sex every day. Okay. What is the best advice to young Catholics to stay close to God all your life? Go to Mass every single week and as much as possible. I feel like that's the bare minimum, and it really helps to center you and keep you focused on God. You can think about the homily throughout the week. I also think it's important to pray every single day when you wake up, before meals, before you go to bed. Just get in the habit of praying in the morning. And I've talked about this a lot. Just set a timer for like 5 minutes and just talk to God for those 5 minutes or 1 minute, however long you have. And I think it's also really cool, like when, obviously this doesn't apply to everyone right now, but on your commute to work or if you're on public transportation, there's an app called the Hallow app, Hallow, Hallow, and they have like meditation, Christian meditations you can listen to, even listen to the rosary. There's also a Bible app called You Now version Bible app, You Now version. And you can listen to the Bible on it. So during your commute or when you're doing your makeup in the morning or when you're cooking, instead of listening to music, listen to the Bible. I think that's so helpful and it really helps me a lot stay focused on God. Lizzie, I left the Church of Christ too almost 3 years ago. Yup, me too. Sorry, Lizzie, for my rant. I just get bullied daily for being trans. That's so awful. I hate that. People should not use malice or bully people for gender dysphoria. And I think a lot of people don't understand this. I've actually made several videos talking about trans issues because I've done a lot of research into it and most people haven't. Gender dysphoria, it's a mental illness and it's a condition that people have genetically. And so you can't just tell someone like stop having gender dysphoria. There's currently not a cure for gender dysphoria. There's not like medication you can take to get rid of the gender dysphoria. And so I think we need to have compassion on these people, just like how you'd have compassion on me and me, like for having depression and suicide ideation. People who are trans have like a 40% suicide rate. That's huge. Bipolar has a 25% suicide rate, which I thought was really, really big. I was like, wow, when I got diagnosed, I have a 1 in 4 chance of dying by suicide. Wow. Oh, wait, is it not 40%? Is it even higher? Let's see. Trans suicide rate. Ten times higher than the rest of the country. New study reveals shocking rates of attempted suicide amongst trans adolescents. Okay. More than half of transgender male teens who participated in the survey reported attempting suicide in their lifetime, while 29.9% of transgender female teens said they attempted suicide. Non-binary youth, 40% attempted suicide. So if you are male and you're trans, you have a 50% chance of attempting suicide. And it's actually the same for bipolar, more than half. So for bipolar, you have a 1 in 2 chance of attempting suicide. And then 30% of females attempted suicide. So 40% of 41.8% of non-binary. So anyways, all I'm saying is that it's a really, really, really serious condition that people can die from. And I think a lot of people with suicide, they kind of like blame the person for going through with it. But it's really like the chemicals going on with in your brain. Like technically, suicide is grave matter, which can be a mortal sin. But because of mental illness and mental health issues, the church has basically said that like it's not a mortal sin when people kill themselves by suicide if they have like a mental condition, which can include bipolar disorder, major depressive disorder, gender dysphoria. So yeah, I actually made an entire video talking about gender dysphoria. And sorry, that was another video I just liked. Let's see. I made a video with this guy named Isaac who, I actually have like several videos. Okay. So I have this video, Being a Trans Christian Q&A featuring the Orthodox Lunatic. So video on gender dysphoria And then I did another video that got so much hate. This is what happens when you stand up for people. You get so much hate. So, sorry, the ad started playing on the video. So, I made a video called Father Mike Schmitz is Wrong About Trans People, because I actually was very passionate about this video. He literally, and this video, I think is still up. Let's see if it's still up in the Ascension Presents channel. So it's one of their top viewed videos. He compared gender dysphoria in people who are trans as a little kid pretending to be a puppy. Like, seriously, he said that. And I was so offended by it. So let's see if it's still on the channel. Most popular videos. Bruce Gender and the transgender question. Yeah, it almost has 1 million views. It's so embarrassing. Like, Catholicism is based on science. Like, we agree with science and Catholicism. So here, I'll link the Father Mike Schmitz video too. So if you guys are interested and want to watch that. Okay, I'm reading through comments. People are kind of like talking back to each other and not talking at me, so I'm trying to find comments. Maria says, I was honestly confused that he was nominated. I think talking about Biden. Sorry, everyone's fighting in the chat together. I'm trying to like keep up with what's going on. Okay, how do you convert from Church of Christ to Catholic? It's been hard to break from advice. So you join RCIA and you stop attending Church of Christ and you start attending Mass. I don't really understand what the question is. Hi, Lizzie. Can you explain why you don't like PSA theology? I used to hate PSA theology, so that means penal substitutionary atonement theology. So I realized Anselm, this Catholic theologian in the Middle Ages and philosopher, he has like substitutionary atonement theology, but it's not like, he has atonement theology, sorry. He doesn't have penal substitutionary atonement. So there's a difference between Protestant atonement theology versus Anselm, what he was talking about. So I was thinking of like the Baptist church talking about how God like tortured Jesus on the cross and like found pleasure in it. It's like weird Protestant stuff that I applied to Catholicism, and it wasn't the actual Catholic view. So I was taking what I'd heard from Protestant churches and I was like, oh, do Catholics believe that? And I was like, I don't even want to be Catholic. I'm going to be Orthodox instead. So. Positive Thoughts said, did you see my super chat? No, it actually got deleted before I saw it. So it must have been pretty bad if one of the moderators deleted it. Okay. Someone says, oh, Lamictal sucks. It's my favorite bipolar medication. I don't understand why you don't like it. Maud says, my boyfriend has bipolar and I found your channel to be extremely helpful. He shares videos he finds useful with me, but I found your videos in my own research. Thank you for helping me understand. Aw, see, this like makes me so positive about the world and so happy. How many messages I get from bipolar people who are dating or married to someone who's bipolar, who look at my videos because they want to research and understand more people who are bipolar. Trevor did that when he started dating me. He should have just watched my videos on it, but he was reading other things besides my videos. Wouldn't you want to watch like your girlfriend talking about bipolar if you're dating your girlfriend? I don't understand it. He went to other sources, but at least he looked it up and was interested. God bless you, Lizzie. Do you ever do live prayers here on YouTube so others can pray with you? No, I feel weird praying through the internet because I love praying in groups in person, but I just can't do it. I feel weird about it. There's no official Catholic teaching on trans, so anyone who hates on trans is a bigot. So that's somewhat true, but in Amoris Laetitia, which is a apostolic exhortation, I believe, someone correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, it's not a papal encyclical, but it's a document by Pope Francis. He says that we have to accept our gender. So obviously he doesn't go in depth onto what that means, but it implies that the church may be against transitioning. So we get that from Amoris Laetitia. You guys can Google it and just Google gender and you'll find the document. NFP baby, check out Mark Hotcat method. I think someone's saying like baby and excitement. I don't think they're saying they're a baby from natural family planning, although they could be, because when you track your cycle with natural family planning, it's so easy to like transfer over and be like, I want to get pregnant, so we will have sex on these days. Five years ago, our church was burning down because some Mormon went and told people you go to hell if you are not Christian. So people did not know the difference between the churches, so they did that. That's crazy. This might sound weird, but us Roman Catholics are going to be persecuted greatly within these next 4 years. It is my personal feeling that I will not live to adulthood, but I know I can't complain. Interesting. I pray the morning offering in the morning. It always helps. You see me rolling? I had Hallow subscription for a while. I didn't use it often, but still have the free version. Wow, I saved my friend's life from suicide on Thursday. That's so beautiful. Good for you for comforting them and standing up for them. I loved your rebuttal to Father Mike Schmidt's Lizzie. I'm so happy you liked the video. I got so much hate for making it and standing up against like such a popular Catholic figure, but his lack of empathy, I even was thinking with that, like maybe it's because I'm a woman. I know I like don't like gender difference. Like for me, I'm like I have more of a masculine brain. Like I'm not very feminine. But like because I'm bipolar, I have a huge empathy. So maybe it's not because I'm a woman. But I was just like, how could you be so rude in not understanding gender dysphoria? Maybe he just like has done zero research on it. But why would you not do research before making a YouTube video about such a controversial topic? It's like infuriating. They need to remove the video from their channel, but they probably won't. Okay, let's see. Oh, I heard about this. What are your thoughts on Lauren Daigle performing on a concert a few days ago in New Orleans with no masks or social distancing? That was horrible. I saw God is Gray on Instagram posted about that, and I was shocked because I love her. But yeah, they shouldn't be doing like, well, number one, I don't think, I'm not going to say this because then people will say I'm racist. But if you're going to do a gathering, then you should have your mask on. you just should wear a mask if you're going to be outside. And I do appreciate that the Black Lives Matter activists and Democrats, in all the videos I've seen, the majority of people have their masks on, whereas when Republicans and Trump supporters are out, they don't wear their masks. On average, that's what I've seen based upon the video footage that I've looked at. But it's really messed up that you have a Christian concert and basically everyone's like, oh, Christians aren't pro-life. Christians don't wear their masks. Like, that's such bad PR for Christianity, right? It's ridiculous. Hello, Lizzie. I'm late to your live stream. God bless you. Let's see. I remember your signs a girl, signs a guy likes you videos way back in the day. Time sure does fly by. Please pray for the Philippines. Some of our provinces are suffering after a typhoon Ulysses hit our country. That's so sad. Okay. Okay, that offends me. I think Father Mike Schmitz is just politically incorrect. Psychology isn't exactly a hard science. Okay, so you're saying my bipolar disorder isn't a hard science since it's psychology? Like, they've literally done brain scans of people in manic episodes, people in depression episodes, schizophrenia. You can literally like do a brain scan and tell which mental illness someone has. And it's a similar thing with trans people where you can literally do a brain scan and they can see that their brains, like if it's someone born biologically male, their brain looks more like a female brain, like if you do a brain scan. So it's like, these things are biological. And yeah, so it really offends me that they're like, psychology, mental illness is a soft science. Like, no, it's not. It needs medication. Okay, let's see. The Orthodox Church does the Nativity Feast. Do the Catholics do the same or not? Because I'm non-denominational Christian, but I base a lot of my theology off of Orthodoxy, and I'm curious. Well, then you should convert into Catholicism. If you're interested in Orthodoxy, then you should be Catholic or Orthodox. Just leave Protestantism. Okay. Planned Parenthood's funding isn't for abortions. It's for life-saving screenings and care for cancer, tumors, tests, and treatment. But it also supports an organization that does abortion. But I do agree that Planned Parenthood does do a lot of good, but they also do a lot of evil. It's kind of like they're literally murdering children. So can't you understand the conservative position of not wanting to be associated or not wanting to fund an organization that literally murders children? It's just, I think when people say the word abortion, they don't even kind of realize what it is. Like, it's murder. It's murdering children. So Planned Parenthood got exposed in the movie Unplanned. I loved that movie. I thought it was so great. You helped me accept my bipolar. Oh, that makes me so happy. Danny says, just watch your newest video about bipolar relationships. Thank you so much. I think my husband might be in detachment, but I'm not sure. I've learned a lot from your channel. That makes me so happy. See, I've helped so many relationships. It's so beautiful. Okay. Okay, I'm reading more comments. Oh, we already read those comments. Stop harassing people, trans or not. Insulting people and calling them names is not acceptable. Agreed. I I agree. Father Mike Schmitz is one of the kindest priests out there. Don't let one minor analogy ruin his whole reputation for us all. I agree. I still watch his videos and I love him. And I even said in my video that I love him and that his videos helped me become Catholic. But when you're dealing with a group of people who have like a 40% suicide rate, like 1/2 suicide attempt rate, then you just need to be really sensitive about it. What? I had to block your mod for harassing me? Who's harassing? Oh, okay. Alioth is gonna stop being a remove moderator. Thank you guys so much for telling me. So, obviously, I don't personally know the moderators, so it's kind of like a guessing game where I see someone a lot in the comments and I assume maybe they're a good person, but I guess a lot of times they're not a good person. Hi, Robert Lahart. How are you? Wow. Mother Teresa was asked why there hasn't been a female president, and she said she was probably aborted. Mike Schmitz might not be touching on the chemical side of gender dysphoria, but he still has a point in that video about living in line with how God made us. Respectfully, I don't think he was wrong. I highly suggest you watch comedian Fionn Vaughn's interview with environmental lawyer Robert Kennedy. I learned so much. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to... Okay, I just put that in another window. I have so many windows, so many tabs open right now on my computer. Lizzie, I wasn't harassing people. I was defending trans people, just so you know. I don't even know it's true anymore. Okay, I'm sorry, Lizzie, never mind. No worries. What did you say? No, I don't seek ill will on them, but you can understand where I'm coming from. Pray for Father and maybe message him and he can probably edit the video. I don't think he will. He's like, doesn't have DMs turned on Twitter, so he's kind of like impossible to reach unless you have his phone number or something. I know it sounds like a crazy pro-choice book, but it really just explains how the most vulnerable and unprotected women in our societies will be punished from abortion restrictions. Her body, our laws, to every pro-lifer like me. Interesting. I'll look it up. Interesting. Michelle Oberman. Okay. What do you mean they'll be punished from abortion restrictions? We need to forgive instantly, talking about fighting in the section in the chat. Hi, Lizzie. I'm a Catholic from India. I love to see your videos. Wow! Someone just donated $100. Thank you so much. That's so nice. Only love will change the world, and his name is Jesus. I think I recognized you before. John Leap's Evangelization. I don't know if you've donated to my channel before. Maybe you have. Anyways, thank you so much for the donation. You allow my YouTube channel to be going full time. Please pray for me because I tore both my ligaments in both my knees. That's so sad. Lizzie, in response to you asking what I said, I don't care. Insect, after Alex said positive thoughts, I judge you and blocking you now. I didn't know they were trans and it didn't apply. Why did you call her or him an insect? Am I missing something there? Hi from Canada. Hi. Okay, we've been on here for 1 hour and 15 minutes. So I think I'm gonna go and work on my book more and my next video. But if you guys, I already went through all the chat and all the questions. If you guys have any really, really pressing questions, I'll wait another minute or so. If you guys have anything. Catholic teen life, do you have a home altar? No, but I do have a icon wall. So probably in the future, if I have a house and get married, I might have like a home altar and stuff, but I just have my art around my room. I mean, you guys have seen I filmed in the different parts of my room. You should consider people insects that are rude to you. Yeah, that's mean! So he called someone an insect? That's so rude. Okay, that's pretty rude. Lizzie, you unmodded me when I told positive thoughts to stop harassing people. There is always drama between the viewers, Lizzie. I don't notice it because I just look at one question and then I talk and talk and talk, and then I look at the chat and then I talk and talk and talk. So I like don't know everything that's going on. It's really weird. Do you know of any good places online to get prayer cards? No, I've been gifted all of my prayer cards. God bless you, Lizzie. May the Immaculate Heart of Mary be your safe refuge always. Unsubscribing! Wow. I told someone to not call other people insects and they unsubscribed from my channel. You should show all the Catholic things you have. Like a room tour, but Catholic things. I could do like a haul video and show all the... That's actually really sweet. Wait, let me write that down. All the Catholic things I have and do a video showing everything. All the Catholic things I have. I might make that video. Okay. God bless everyone and Lizzie. Good night. May St. Michael the Archangel protect you and your guardian angels. Give me tips to answer Protestants. I have made 120 videos on Catholicism, so I will link in the chat the playlist to all of those videos. Lizzie's Answers Catholic playlist. Here we go. Catholic theology videos updated yesterday.
To the words of the prophets. God is in.
Sorry, there's an ad going on. A Bible ad, so it seems like they have the algorithm correct. Actually, I'm going to give the link to all the videos here. So look through it and watch more of the videos. So whichever topic that you want to talk about or they're asking you about, my Catholic theology playlist. Maria, what is the difference between sadness and depression? I'm not sure which one I am sometimes. So my experience in depression is that the sadness is a reaction to the depression. The crying is not depression. Depression is numbness. You have zero feelings at all. It's like being like ice. And there are certain things in depression that make you cry. So for example, when I was in college and I was in depression, I would be like trying to write a paper and I couldn't think of words. Like I literally couldn't put sentences together. I tried so hard, and I would cry because I was so frustrated and upset that my depression was slowing my brain down so much that I couldn't think of words to say. And it was the same thing when I would be doing my reading assignments. I would be reading complicated philosophy and literally not be able to understand it because my brain had literally shrunk in severe depression, and I would cry because of that. But just being sad isn't depression, it's numbness. So if you feel a lot, that's probably not depression. But also, there are different types of depression. So I know for me, I never really get insecure in my depression. I don't have anxiety in my depression. My depression is very physical and mental. It's not emotional. So like, let's just go to the DSM real quick, depression diagnosis. And I'll actually share, I remember I was in therapy once after I was diagnosed with bipolar. This was like at the end of 2016. And we were going over it. And the therapist was actually like, "Are you sure you've had depression?" And she tried to like undiagnose me with bipolar. And I was like, what the heck? So I'll read some of the diagnostic criteria and you can decide whether or not you fit the diagnostic criteria. This webpage sucks. It's like the specific DSM-5 criteria are outlined below. To continue reading the article, log in. What the heck? Why can't you just have the DSM-5 depression diagnosis? Here we go. Let's try to find an article that just has it. Okay, here we go. So 5 more or equal to 5 symptoms, so 5 plus symptoms during the same 2-week period that are a change from previous functioning. So these are the things. You have to have at least 5. So depressed mood most of the day, may be subjective, feels sad, empty, or hopeless, appears tearful. So for me, I never had depressed mood. Then there's loss of interest or pleasure, marked diminished interest in all or almost all of activities. So I had that where I started feeling my schoolwork was pointless, like philosophy was meaningless, which is crazy because philosophy is everything. And then it says weight gain or weight loss. I had weight loss. Insomnia or hypersomnia nearly every day. So insomnia means you can't sleep. Hypersomnia means you're sleeping like 15 hours, which was me. I was so exhausted regardless of how much sleep I got. I could get 2 hours of sleep, 8 hours of sleep, 10 hours of sleep, 15 hours of sleep. I was always tired when I woke up. Psychomotor agitation or retardation. So that means you're just like moving slower. Fatigue or loss of energy nearly every day. Yes, every day. Feeling worthless or excessive inappropriate guilt. So I never had that experience in depression. Decreased concentration nearly every day, maybe indecisiveness, maybe subjective or observed by others. Yeah, it was really difficult for me to be able to make decisions, and my mind was so slowed down that it was definitely hard to concentrate on things. And then thoughts of death and suicide, which I had. So I had all of them except for depressed mood and feelings of worthlessness. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I had 7 of the 9 symptoms in depression. Additional required criteria: symptoms cause clinical significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas of functioning. So that means it's hard to maintain friendships, you're failing out of school, or you can't work your job. Episode not attributed to psychological effects of a substance or another medical condition. So like hypothyroidism or can make you go into depression, or like mono could also give you the symptoms. So it can't be that. And then it says episode not better explained by schizoaffective disorder, schizophrenia, delusional disorder, or other specified schizophrenic symptoms. And then it says no history of manic or hypomanic episode, which means that this is to diagnose someone with major depressive disorder. So if they had hypomanic or manic, then you don't have major depressive disorder, then you have bipolar disorder. Oh, someone left a super comment. Thank you so much. What should alcoholic Catholics do as the church doesn't use grape juice as a substitute? Same with celiac and the host. So you do not have to receive the wine at Mass. You can just receive the bread. So what appears as bread, sorry. So the host and the it's so hard to talk about these things because if you say bread, then people get offended because I'm talking about what appears as bread. It's not bread, and what appears as wine. But the body, blood, soul, and divinity is in both. So the blood of Christ is in the host, and the body of Christ is in the chalice. Does that make sense? So all of Jesus is in both, so you only have to take one. So what if you're allergic to wine and gluten? So they have a low gluten host for people who are gluten-free that they can take, but it has to have gluten in it and it has to be wine. So I'm actually friends with two people who can never receive the Eucharist because they're allergic to gluten so high and they can't have alcohol. Like they get physically sick if they receive the Eucharist. So some people are in that situation where they can't receive the Eucharist, which is crazy, but it actually does happen to people, and they find other ways to connect with God and love God. Okay, let's see other comments that happened when I was talking. We talked about prayer cards. Super comment. Sorry, I cannot come up with a good YouTube username. Donated $4.99. Thank you for donating to my channel. Okay. Do you talk with your patron saint? Yes, I was talking to my patron saint today with what I was writing. So yeah, my patron saint watches over me so well, and I ask him to help me a lot. My patron saint is Irenaeus. If you didn't know, he lived in the 2nd century. He wrote a giant book called Against Heresies, and it's called The Father of Mary Theology, which is really cool. Please do a Catholic room tour. Thanks, you helped me to believe in the church. Aw. Asking what she thinks about having a Catholic president isn't exactly being political. And I answered the question, so I was fine with it. Do you ever host virtual Bible studies? I did over the summer, but I do campus ministry work that takes up a lot of time during the school year, so I had free time over the summer where I did do virtual Bible studies in Zoom. It was a lot of fun. Can I be a moderator? I will be super duper nice and understanding and respectful as possible. Yes. All the Catholic things I have would be a very short video. Oh, you know what I want to do? A what's in my purse video and show the Catholic things in my purse. What's in my purse video? Catholic edition. Catholic edition. Okay. You should do a mental health book. I have a manuscript written about bipolar disorder. So after my Catholic conversion book, then we'll do the bipolar book. Did you ever get akathisia? Let's see what this is. I may have. Akathisia is a feeling of muscle quivering, restlessness, and inability to sit still, sometimes a side effect of antipsychotic or antidepressant medication. No, but it is like people with shaking hands and stuff, especially with schizophrenia, which we actually have similar medicines with. Antipsychotics are used for bipolar and schizophrenia. So some of the medicines I take are also schizophrenia. So that is a possible reality for me. Thanks, Lizzie. I don't think I have depression and was just overthinking it, but I won't be worried about it now. God bless and good night. Yay! Someone realized they don't have a mental illness. That's such a relief. Okay. In 2002, I was diagnosed by Navy, VA, and private with bipolar disorder type 2. For years, I flipped between rocking daylights out of my show and seasons of reclusiveness, depression. Relate. The moderator is like, I love blue because her moderator thing is blue now. Okay. Looking forward to the mental health book, Lizzie. Brain zaps is something I dealt with while on SSRIs. Hated taking them. Also been on mood stabilizers, tranquilizers, antipsychotics. Glad you talked about this issue. Yeah, that's interesting what brain zaps are. Anyways, thank you guys for hanging out with me. This time has gone by so fast. It's been an hour and a half. I have so much energy today. Did you ever take SSRI meds, Lizzie? Yes, that will be the last question I answer. So I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder before I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder because I had not been diagnosed with a manic episode yet. So I took Wellbutrin. It didn't kick in, nothing happened with it. Then I was put on Prozac, which is a very common medicine. It kicked in, it got me out of depression. It did not shoot me into mania, interestingly enough. Then I was later put on, I went off the meds. I've gone off meds 5 times, like just completely ditched my treatment plan 5 times in the past 6 years. So I used to do it every 5 months, like literally like clockwork. Like I looked back on it one day. I was just thinking, this was a few years ago, and I was like, wow, it's literally every 5 months. So when I completely go off my meds, and then I'll be off for a while, and then 5 months more on meds. But anyways, then I went off the Prozac impulsively, no meds for like 4 months. Then I went on lithium and Cymbalta, which is also called duloxetine. So I was on that. And then after that, when I was diagnosed with like bipolar officially, I was never on antidepressants again because antidepressants can make you shoot into mania. So it's super dangerous to be on them if you have bipolar disorder. Aw, Heart of the Orthodox Christian. Hey, buddy, on lunch right now at work. Just thought I'd stop by and say hello. How soon are we going to have you back live? So probably soon. I was literally thinking today, so my boyfriend is doing his finals week, so he can't talk to me that much, which is super sad. So I was thinking like maybe I'll just live stream more because I can't FaceTime him, so I'll just live stream. So tomorrow and maybe I'll live stream. Anyways, I always announce my live streaming on Twitter and Facebook. So make sure to be following me on my Twitter and Facebook page. And I always live stream around the same time. So around this time. So be on YouTube too. Okay. I would like an ebook. I'm sorry, Aliat, that you feel that way. It's just impossible for me to read all the comments. So I have to make a decision, which is hard. I hate unmodding people. It's really sad. Okay. Okay, here's a random comment. Oh, I don't think Yoda Judd is trying to learn how to do it. So if you go to, if you put your mouse, I was just thinking, I don't think you can delete my comment. I don't think that's possible, but you can try. So you put your mouse, your cursor over the comment, and then there's 3 dots on the right side, and then you click on the dots, and then you can remove comments. Could you write a book on your experience with bipolar? Yes, I have a book written. It needs like major edits. I wrote it when I was manic, but I do have 200 pages written about bipolar, and I will definitely make a book on it. But first, I'm going to publish my Catholic conversion memoir in 2021. So then in 2022, how about I will do a bipolar book? Yay! Yoda Judge was able to delete a comment. This is a mean comment. Delete it. What is your opinion on Christian heavy metal? I've listened to it, and heavy metal just like isn't really my style. I want to learn more about Mania. I made an entire video, Signs of Mania. So I will link it in the chat real quick. Mania, Lizzie's Answers.
Feel the whole.
Yay, it's a great day when my videos are monetized. Mania video, I talk about Mania in it. Okay, I want to learn more about Mania. I feel so bad, even though it was just to teach me. I don't know if you'll be a good moderator if you feel bad deleting mean people. We'll see. It is your duty. Heavy metal sounds demonic. Please pray for Chicago children. We've had 2 Amber Alerts in 2 days. We found the one from today. That's so good. Please do try Christian DIY. I don't know what that is supposed to be. Okay, so we're done with the live stream. Thank you for hanging out with me. I love you guys so much. I am probably going to live stream tomorrow. We shall see. Thanks for hanging out with me. Bye.